Hey everyone, Will here. Something crazy just happened to me about a month ago. It's taken me this long to gather up the courage again to say anything, but my main account, The Art of Ramos, was banned permanently from TikTok around October 7th, and I got a little, worked up, and I went down the deep rabbit hole as everyone did around the world, and I went crazy political. I'm amazed it took them 2+ years to ban me. I mean, I was banned before, but it was only temporary. This time they said permanent. We don't like what you're saying. So I had another account because I was trying to do a billion things at once. My art, self-help, just the things that I've learned the last 7 years, things that have helped me. Maybe it would help you. So I did these big old long videos, like 8 minutes, scripted, had a teleprompter and everything. Damn, I'm telling you, trying to keep to the script with ADHD, it was stressful as hell. I couldn't do it. And right here on this channel, you see I only had like 8 videos. And so now I'm using this as my main account because I have no other account. And it was just gonna be a throwaway, just kind of, here's what's going on. Actually, I wasn't gonna do anything. I was just gonna look at political stuff and just repost it to spread the word. And because I'm crazy, ADHD, probably did like, I don't know, 10 to 30 reposts a day because I'm nuts and haven't done any content. Then all of a sudden I get somebody looking at my account, somebody following me. I go from like 14 followers. Now I have almost 900 as of like a couple days ago. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not even doing anything. So I figured I'd start up again with something that I know that I did on a regular basis for a little bit, and something that I call TIGF. Things I'm grateful for. And a little caveat, why. Something I remember when I was, my job, when I was more involved in the union. I spoke up one time at a union meeting. I noticed a coworker sitting kind of right beside me with his wife. Later on, I heard my boy sitting behind him said he wanted to say something. In agreement, maybe saying here, or whatever. Or maybe he wanted to say something, but his wife pulled his hand down. And, she's like, God, don't say anything, don't get involved. And it's like a little microcosm of the entire United States, if not the world, this little place I work at. I noticed that a lot of people out there, a lot of people are getting out for No King's Day, but, a lot of people are like, hey, I don't know if I, should say anything, my work, my family, my friends. I don't want to stick my neck out. And then so that's why I'm starting this thing, because literally everything we have is because of unions. Everything that we have that's decent so far. Weekends, paid vacation, 5-day work week, the 8-hour work day, medical, child labor, the banning of it. All this came from unions. Everything great in America came from unions. What was that? That was people coming together, people speaking up. What does that mean? Why can't we do that so much today? I mean, yeah, we got a lot of people out there. We got millions. But I'm trying to make this out to the people that think that they don't have a voice. Because I saw that in the union. People would bring up something to us, and then they'd be like, well, don't tell them it was me. And I was like, well, we have to resolve this issue. we have to meet with the person that your supervisor, and they don't want to cause a ruckus. They don't want to get in trouble. It's kind of like if you don't know, it's like a catch-22. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. When you're not in the know, you don't realize that we, the people, have the power. So you come to the union for them to do something about it. But then they're like, well, we need you. And you're like, whoa. And then that's, there's a lot of Americans that still don't do that. And we need more people. We need more people to speak up and stand together, stand tall. I got my dinosaur outfit ready to go for the protests again. I just want to talk about why. Where does it come from? What have I found that it comes from? Like a place where people just feel like, hey, that's not me. I can't do that. Well, why? It's all coming down to why. Because you don't feel confident. Why don't you feel confident? Because, well, you don't know what you're capable of. You don't know what you're not capable of. You think that you can't do anything. So you just sit there and do nothing. But that thing in the Matrix, it was Rome, Greek, I don't know, where it says, know thyself. That is so true that once you know yourself, running around not knowing yourself makes you run around like a zombie. You don't know what you're doing, so you don't do it. When you know yourself, you're like, wow, here's the lane that I can, or here's the several lanes that I can be in. Okay, these over here are the lanes that I don't really fit in, because that's not me. And it's such an awakening, such a great feeling when you know yourself and you're like, wow. I started reading books by Simon Sinek, Finding Your Why. That's finding yourself, finding your meaning, finding the meaning in life. One thing that, a lot of people do is that they carry the thoughts in their head that are basically just the crap that people have told us throughout the day that most of the people don't know what the hell they're talking about. But because we know them, because we for some reason trust them, we take that as truth. Then we take it into ourselves, and those voices repeat. And I always think of it as you're in a big hall filled with people, a bunch of different people saying a bunch of things. It's a roar of the crowd. Those are all the voices of the people that you've been listening to your entire life. Your parents, your family, friends, people on TV. None of them give a shit about you. I mean, your family, they do. But nobody knows you. Shit, most people don't even know themselves. That's what I'm getting at. You are a little tiny person on a platform in the middle of that room, whispering as loud as it can, but you're being drowned out by the roar of all the other people, all the other voices, all the other thoughts from all the other people that don't really know you and don't really care about you. And when I say don't care, it's just that everyone's running from a state of fear. They're trying to run in a state of survival, trying to preserve themselves. That's why parents, loved ones, they try to convince you to stay and conform just like everyone else. Just don't do that dream. Don't go outside the path. Just do what everybody else does. They love you, but they think that love is doing what they do because they're fear-based. You want to do something else. So the whole thing is, why are you listening to those voices? Because you found that you shouldn't be listening to your own. The thing is, most of the things that you tell yourself are conglomerations of all the crap that they're saying. Those other voices, the other people inside your head. What do? What are you doing? You're basically telling yourself negative crap every day. You can't do this. You can't go out and speak. You can't leave that job that you had for 15, 20 years to pursue a passion. You can't leave this abusive relationship. You can't. Negative talk, bullshit. What I've even learned just recently, that your brain lies to you. I'll tell that in another video. But one way to work around this is to do positive talk. Because you're doing negative talk anyways. You're programming your brain to believe that you can't. That's why no matter what you do, you can't, because you've installed the program into your subconscious. It's a subconscious, by the way, not unconscious. You've programmed that thing, and it's a little hard to break, but there is a way to do it. You can use positive speak, but there's one thing that people miss. It's not just positive speak. You got to do the thing that I'm finding that neurologists, neuroscientists, they even say that this is how the brain works. It works off of emotion. When you couple emotion with everything, that's when the magic happens. So you want to do these repetitions every day, these positive affirmations, which haven't worked. It's because you weren't coupling them with emotion. Well, what do you mean by emotion? Well, you have to have intense emotion about the thing that you're repeating. I want a better life. I want $1 million or whatever, but you have to visualize it because the brain doesn't know if it's real or not. I'm going to get into all this later, but you have to incorporate emotion into these affirmative chants. One way to do that is you can't just make up emotion. So one way to do that is to do something that you already have, something that you're grateful for, gratitude. So that you've heard of gratitude journals maybe. When you are grateful for something, it's something that I already have. So you don't have to do any imagining. It's something I already have back at home right now with me. I'm grateful for. That is an emotion. I am so grateful that I have this thing already. It's an affirmation. It is coupled with emotion because it's gratitude. And it's something you have already, so you don't have to do much imagination. You're just trying to think of it. And the whole thing comes down to that saying, the glass is half empty, half full. I love that saying. The glass is completely full, by the way. It's filled with fullness and emptiness, 100%, 50% of each. The whole point of that saying is, which one are you focusing on? So most of us are focusing on the empty. I can't do anything. So the whole point is focus on the full. It's already there. That's where the gratitude comes from. You already have this shit. It's already there. It's half full. So focus on it. What happens is, if you do this every day, see, here's the thing. You got to do this every day. And let's do it easy. Pick 3 things every day that you're grateful for. Just 3, but every day they have to be 3 different things. And what this does is gets your mind, it starts training your mind to see the half full potential of your life that's already there. Not potential, it's what you already have. And you start ignoring, after you do this for a while, you start ignoring the negative empty part because there's nothing there. You're sitting there tripping out on negativity, saying you can't do things, you don't live the life you want to because of emptiness. Focus on the things you do have. Focus on the accomplishments you did do. The half full, the gratitude. 3 things you're grateful for. I'm going to start every day by giving you a little bit of words of wisdom, as wise as I could be with what I've found out in my years of life and what I found out lately. So, TIGF, things I'm grateful for. Today, it's my son's smile. I love making him laugh. It's just watching the little dimple. So cute. You just want to do it again. I have a very understanding wife. Awesome. Great thing to have. And the thing that I love is that I have never been programmable. And that is something that I'm proud of and I'm very grateful for. I was a rebel without a cause. Now I found my cause and I'm a rebel and I want to help you. So let's do this together. Let's do it in the comments. I'm going to show you 3 things every day that I'm grateful for. Show me 3 things every day that you're grateful for, and we can do this together. We can just try to deprogram our bullshit brains from lying to us and show us that we do have a lot going on in our lives. We can accomplish a lot, and we can stand up to the bullies that are trying to make our lives worse. So what things are you grateful for? Let me know in the comments. Till next time. Where there's a will, there's a way. And this is Will's way. Later.